All right, cool. So this week we have a couple pairs we're going to look at, mainly focusing on Bitcoin, but we will go over some other pairs like gold and the pound yen in a minute. This is the last week of March, so let's see if we can end the month on a really strong level. So I'm going to go all the way out to the daily and delete some of this stuff. So for Bitcoin, what I'm expecting is price to come up to these highs again, how it did before, and I'm expecting it to just spike right above it, kind of how it did here, right? So price was chilling in this area and then it spiked way up here, came back down. So I'm looking for it to just spike into and just slightly above this level. However, before that, because we know how the market accumulates, I believe we are going to see price, at least on the daily candle, come down and make a wick. And what I'm expecting is a wick a little bit lower than this daily candle. And I'm not expecting that to happen on today's candle or even tomorrow's, but over the next 2 or 3 days, I'm expecting price to pull under this wick right here and likely into this area. So we'll get into that. So I'm changing the time frame to 4 hour time frame.
Yo, what's up with this music?
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah, dude, can you? All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, I don't know why that was playing still. Um, all right, so we have this high here, and what I was looking for is price to pull back into the high of this wick, but not break it. And as you can see here, right here, we have this nice wick right here that shows rejection already from this level. But because we're expecting it to become or to come near the high, we wait and wait and wait, and you can see this candle spikes up here. We stall out overnight, and then since this morning today, what we've seen price do is price pushed up, and then it pushed up and spiked out this high. So if I mark this high, as you can see, this candle spike just above that, and that is exactly what I want to see. So actually, I'll just delete that for now. And this 4 hour candle started 2 hours ago, so it's halfway being formed. What I would like to see is this candle close no higher than right here. So even if it pushes slightly higher than this as the candle is moving, as long as when it closes, which is going to be, uh, let's see, 20 is 10 o'clock. No, that doesn't make sense. 16. Yeah, I guess it does. So we got about 3 hours. It actually just started. Yeah, it just started. 3 hours till this candle is done. So we got a lot of time. So let me go into the 1 hour. And you know what? I'm going all the way into the 10-minute time frame. Dang, it is pushing like crazy right now. So it'd be interesting to see um, as we break down the market what Bitcoin does here. But what I was looking at is up here because what I want to see is where are all of the sell orders that made price push down here. I want to know where that is because when price comes back to that area, we're likely to see those sell orders step in again and see that push down once again. So that's why I had this level marked here because if I zoom way in here, you can see price pushed up, okay, and then price came back down and then it stalled for a minute, and this candle is really the candle of no return. So as you can see, after this candle it never went back to that area, so that tells me that a lot of the sell orders are right in this area right here, right in these wicks.
Right.
So looking at where price is now, this is crazy how it's exploded right here. That's interesting to see. But what happened was price came up into this area and showed rejection, and then it actually pushed up how it's doing now. See how it's pushing up like crazy? This candle was pushing up like crazy, and it ended up actually closing down here. And since then, we've pretty much been accumulating. Look at it go though. Holy. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad I'm still in the buys from 40 from down here when we bought. Well, that pretty much changes the whole analysis. What I'm looking for going forward then is price to come up into and above this area for rejection, and that way we can look to take the sell entry. But I'd like to see it come above this high slightly, so we'll see what happens as price approaches this level. We can see what type of reaction we get. And honestly, that just changed the whole course of this, because what my analysis was a short down here, but if this is just exploding, then we're simply just waiting for that sell opportunity to hit out this high and hold it all the way down to the low 30s. So I guess we don't really have to dive too much into crypto then, in Bitcoin. Yeah, we're just going to wait and see what happens once we get up into this area. More specifically, I do have these highs marked over here. So if I zoom in over here, you can see in the similar sense of what I was just saying, where did price pretty much have no return from? That is going to be this area here. So I'm going to have 46.6 between 46,000 and 46.6 thousand. This is where I really want to focus on what price is doing, because if you get huge and very strong rejection here, then yeah, we're taking the sell entry. That is crazy. That is just exploding right here. Hold on, I'm about to pull up my MetaTrader because I have a buy that's going to hit the target then. Oh, it already did. Crazy. That's good. That's good. It's already approaching there. I'm going to be keeping a very, very close eye on this uh, for the sell opportunity, because honestly, we might even get that tonight then. Because if we're in this phase right here, see how we pushed up to the area, then we had the first spike, and then we stalled, and then we spiked up above that high. That is pretty much what's going on right here. So again, I want to see what happens when price gets up here. We might be entering here soon. Wow. All right, we're going to chill here for a minute. Let's see. The last time, as you can see, it pushes up. So it's not going to be an immediate candle. So we're definitely going to be waiting here a minute. And even, oh, it's not going to load, is it? Like right here, this is what the type of price action that I want to see. It's exploding right now. See how it spikes out? That's what I want to see as we approach into these levels. And look at that. It's already all the way up here. Well, let me delete this. Let's go to the daily, because it's interesting how it just completely exploded into that high. And if we're going to accumulate around this area, then we might need to take a look at these higher levels right here. So I just marked this daily high. You can see the high this week. That's crazy. I almost want to place a very small sell position right here. What's the spread? The spread is definitely changing my mind. I am definitely not going to enter around here yet. The spread is huge. All right, well, this unfolds. Let's take a look at the pound yen and gold because those are the two other pairs that I'm looking to trade this week. All right, pound yen. We're going to back off to the weekly. And this thing has been exploding, and I think that is possible that we're going to see that continue to explode. But first, I wanted to bring us back to, was it the 4 hour? Yep, let me get this zoomed in here. So this is way back in time. Okay, this is 2016, this area right here. And what I'm looking at, because this is, price has not been into this area since it dropped right here until now. So what I'm looking at is what did price do last time it was in this area? And obviously we have this major wick right here that there was a lot of orders. I mean, after that wick was created, price dropped. Holy crap. Price dropped 2,700 pips in 8 hours. That is nuts. I didn't even measure that until just now. I didn't do that before this. Um, with that aside, what I'm looking for is some sort of sell-off reaction from this area to get some sort of pullback before we continue to the upside. And if we keep going down, then we could get that major sell-off that I've been seeing, but there's a greater chance that we're just going to continue. So what I marked is this low right here of this candle, because that is a form of imbalance, because you can see after it broke that, it never came back to its sense. And normally when the price breaks, it'll come back and fill that, even just with a wick, and we did not get that here. And then of course I have pretty much the top right here, because what I'm measuring is, see how this lines up here. So now let's go all the way back into today's time, and you can see price has already started to chop around since it's been in this area. Sorry, let me just look at Bitcoin real quick. It's crazy. So what I like to see is that we're already seeing the sell pressure, which makes me believe that we are going to see some sort of retracement. But before that happens, I think we're going to push up just a little bit more and probably tap 1.62. Okay, maybe even 1.62 or 162.5. We'll see what happens and what sort of reaction it gets when the market opens. And the first target is obviously going to be this low right here. So that would be something like this. Okay, and then from there it's possible we continue to the upside. However, the second target, if we are able to break this, is going to be essentially 157, because what I'm looking at right here is, let me zoom into the 1 hour. Actually, no, 4 hour is good. This is pretty much the point where price took off from and hasn't pulled back since, similar to what we were looking at with the Bitcoin. Same thing going on here. So we can see price pretended to sell off here, and then it came up here and stopped everyone out, and then it pulled back, and this is where it exploded from. So in my sense, if we're going to continue to the upside, it will first come down to this area and grab a ton of orders in this area right around 157, and then we could see a continuation into higher highs, which on the weekly level, we might be talking like this area right here, or these highs even. It depends how weak the yen gets. And on the flip side of that, like I said, if the yen basket actually turns around and starts becoming very bullish, we could see that huge sell-off and push down into these lows. So it really all depends what type of strength or lack of, the weakness that the yen has for this. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got for the pound yen. And lastly is gold. It's unfortunate that price did not dip lower than it did because I was expecting, honestly, just needed to move like 60 more pips down, and we would have taken an entry on this pullback right here, but that didn't happen, so let's just move forward. What I'm expecting is now a pullback around this area, around 1930, and what I want to look at is price back in time. So take a look over here. We can see the initial push down, and then this is where it pulled back to, pretty close to that area, and as you can see, it exploded from there. So that's pretty much what this is, right? This is the initial push down, and then we pulled back kind of into the low, not as low as I thought we were going to, but we pushed back in here and then it exploded. Okay, so then what happened? Price chopped around a little bit, but ultimately it came back pretty close to the bottom of this low right here, and that is when it fully continued. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here is I want to see price pull back into the area of this low, but not that low. I don't think it's going to come down here. What I'm looking at is this area right here, because you can see price hit this low. We pretty much went sideways for a little bit. We exploded, and then we chopped around right here and grabbed a lot of liquidity in orders within the market right here around 1927. So this is the area that I want to see price pull back to, and then we're going to take an entry around this area for the target of 2008 essentially. And from there, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but we'll probably get a second buy entry as we make room for all-time highs. So in simple terms, just waiting for price to pull back down to around 1930, and then we're going to look for buys. Let's take a look back at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is going nuts right now. Look at that wick. And the spread is huge. Spread is massive. That just changed like the whole analysis right here. What's up, Devon? I pretty much just ran through gold in the pound yen real briefly, and then Bitcoin is exploding right now, and it's already into the area that we're looking to sell from. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here. If it stays under this high right here, then we probably actually will see this thing fall down and this be the first major spike. And then we should see another pullback for the second major spike before the kind of like even this right here. See how we got this huge push up and then we dropped. I mean, we dropped 300 pips and then we came all the way back up and pretty much repeated the same thing again, except this time we don't take the high out. It's more of a legit pullback. Then we dump. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. So we'll see what happens as prices in this area. My analysis was just a sell-off, and I took a short position while still holding the buys from this low right here, 4650, like literally right here is where we took the buy. I held that, and it hit my take profit at like 46,000 right here, with the short. So my short just got stopped out, but that's crazy because that was like 10 minutes. If I go to the 10-minute, that's crazy right there. So I'm just going to be looking for what happens in this area. Are we going to break this? Because if we break this, we actually might come up to this area, which is another weekly high. But if we can't break this and we kind of like go sideways and kind of chop around right here, I think we're going to have that chance to. This is going to be that first major drop before we come all the way back up again and spike this high out. So my target, if we can get this sell right here, my target is still going to be that area that it was from down here, which is like the low of 43s. Honestly, even this area right here, this wick, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we came close to this, but we didn't hit it out. Very interesting. But that's probably going to be it because I'm going to update this in the chats, let everyone know. Where's my Telegram? Oh yeah, it's up here. I'm just reading something right now. It'd be interesting to see what happens here. I might go eat that. Um, I've been boiling pork with like peppers and onions and all that in there. I might go eat that real quick and let Bitcoin give it some time to accumulate and see what happens here. Because that's a very, very strong impulse move. It'll be interesting to me because this day closes soon, and if it does not close with a huge wick, so if it doesn't close in low 45s, we might be more like on this stage right here, and we might see wicks into high 40s. So I'm marking these highs right here as a guide in case it depends, what how this day closes out, because if the day closes out in 3 hours. So the next 3 hours are going to determine what's going to happen here. If 3 hours from now price is down here in this area, whether it happens on this hour, it's not going to happen. So even if price stays up here for a little bit or just kind of slowly moves back down, in 3 hours, if price is down here, I believe this is going to be our first spike, and we should see a push down to these areas right here. So under here and around these lows. So pretty much this area. But in 3 hours, if price is up here, then we're probably going to see spikes into 47,000. So let's take a look over here. It's ultimately these highs and these highs. So we'll see what happens. All right, I'm going to end this and I'm going to get some food and then we'll be back.